Alright, this is part 2 of my case knife reviews. Please watch part 1 first so you get the background on this. I left off talking about this one. Alright, this is a Case XX USA, manufactured from 65 to 1969. These are beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful years that you can get. Gorgeous. You can find these knives on eBay for a premium price. You'll be paying in the range of like a Case Select, and I'm going to tell you, Case Select has nothing on these older knives. And a regular case knife, you can't even compare. You can compare these to the Chinese made knives. And I know I'm going to offend people by saying that, but we can't solve this problem without being honest. Beautiful knife. I am willing to pay for the quality, and most people are. They're willing to pay that premium price. And due to the fact that quality is so hard to find these days, you can actually charge more than you actually could. You could probably make a better profit off a quality product, and these even speak for it. The Tony Bose series, functional half stops, everything lines up beautiful. I don't know much about the knife business, but I'm thinking they're pulling a much higher profit on something like this than something like this. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But I mean, gosh, wouldn't you want your company to be known for quality and not put out a product that you have to return constantly? I expect the best from Case Knives and my American-made counterparts, and I will return those knives if I'm not completely satisfied. You know, if you have high expectations for a company, they will eventually either go out of business or they're going to perform at the level that we expect. People are no different. It's case tested, beautiful. Look at that stag. Gorgeous knife. These are more of those trappers. Here's one, and this is an older one. This is from, I think, about 72, 73. It's as old as me. This one's slightly used. Something about this old carbon steel is it gets razor sharp. I mean, this is sharp as hell. And everyone's like, well, it rusts. It corrodes. What are you talking about? I've had this in my knife roll for 2 years. It's not rusting. And I used it before that. So it's got some pitting on it. You know, it's a 30-year-old knife that has been in someone's pocket actually used. I'd rather a knife get nice and sharp than look all shiny and pretty. I'm really depressed about this knife. That knife is completely unsat. These knives have beautiful scales, but they just don't have the walk and talk of the older knives. And here's one that I hand-picked. It's got a functional half stop. It's made in the 90s. Good fit and finish. This knife feels good. They hit a home run with this one. And this is a mini trapper. Great half stop. Still doesn't snap like it should. You hear that? Glued on shield, but it's a cheaper knife, and there's something about it I like. There's something about it I like. Here's one that's made in the 80s. Actually, did I mess that up? 1993 to 1999. Feels a little bit tighter than the newer model. I don't know what they did different, but it just feels tighter. It feels more of a knife, more sturdy. No half stop, but the larger ones never had the half stop, so that I know of. 80s is probably the worst year in my opinion. The fit and finish is not very good. This knife is very special to me. This was my mom's brother's knife. It was actually engraved, R.I.P. RIP. Glued on shield. The 80s had some problems, definitely, with quality. Now, if you guys want a nice knife, this one, ouch, is manufactured in the 70s. It's got a Delrin handle, and boy, it's tight. Look at that. All polished inside. None of the blades rub. Razor sharp. Everything fits beautifully. You can get these for 25 to 30 bucks on eBay. And I'm telling you, hands down, this knife is way nicer than the newer ones. You'll have this one that's a Delrin handle, and this newer one, which is a Stag handle. If I had to choose between the two of them, I'd pick this one. But because this is a Delrin handle, people are looking at it going, oh, that's just a user knife. This knife is not built to the same quality as this. Period. So if you want a nice user, pick yourself up a case knife made in the 70s. Now some of these are very collectible. This is a beautiful knife. Look at that, 70s. Get yourself a nice thick blade on there. Nice whittler. Nothing rubs. Nice thick blade. Look at that. Gorgeous. Now that's a $200 to $300 knife though, because of the collectability. But you can find the 70s knives in the undesirable handle materials, and they're undesirable because they're not pretty. It's not that they're not functional. This is a winner. Guarantee any knife that you get from the 70s is going to be built. This is going to be like a hand-picked case knife of today. Okay. And the trappers tend to be the priciest, and it's one of the more popular knives. But look at these, made in the 70s, absolutely straight as all get out. Everything just lines up perfectly. You don't get that today. You just don't. Okay, and that's my rundown of case knives. I hope I didn't offend anybody, but these are just my own personal opinions, and I just like to see the quality of today's knives get back to where it should be. And I do believe Americans are willing to pay that price. So, very affordable 1970s case knives. Go ahead and try looking them up. Stay away from the 80s. The 80s do have a few nice ones, but in general, if you get something that's manufactured in the 70s, you're looking at a really nice knife. And anything older than the 70s is somewhat pricey and more collectible. You'd never use that. If you did, you're richer than me. But in the 70s, you can get yourself a nice user and something that will last you a lifetime. Alright, you guys have a nice evening, day.